Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover another anime from TMS Entertainment, but this time with some anthropomorphic dog characters. Basically, for today's anime review is Sherlock Hound. Sherlock Hound is a Japanese anime series directed by Kosuke Mikiura and Hayao Miyazaki as well. Yeah, this has been originally aired on these TV network channels, TV Asahi in Japan, and the Rai channel in Italy as well. Yeah, and this particularly is your typical anime with based on the story of Sherlock Holmes, but with anthropomorphic dogs on that particular anime. And yeah, this only lasted about 26 episodes from November 6th, 1984 until May 21st, 1985 as well. Yeah. This anime series premiered on November 6th, 1984, which is probably around the same time as Fist of the North Star and Urusei Yatsura as well. But this is as well as Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind and Super Dimension Fortress Macross Do You Remember Love as well. And come to think of it, this is probably how this anime particularly... I mean, if you're an anime fan looking for an anime which has some anthropomorphic dogs on that one, from the 80s, chances you're going to have to pick Sherlock Hound. Otherwise, there's notable titles such as Around the World with Willy Fogg, Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, and The Mysterious Cities of Gold as well. Because Sherlock Hound is probably one of the most important works from legendary Hayao Miyazaki, kind of the extent to Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, and Around the World with Willy Fogg as well, and the Mysterious Cities of Gold. So for the plot in Sherlock Hound, actually, particularly, the great detective Sherlock Holmes and his faithful friend Dr. John Watson are in constant demand in Edwardian London to foil the evil schemes of Professor Moriarty, who is constantly out to steal some exotic treasure or cause havoc with his minions. Todd and Miley in this charming adventure series for children. I mean, they are transformed into anthropomorphic dogs, kind of like Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, particularly. Their adventures are full of charm and energy as they search for a missing train track, three mysterious lobsters, and defeat a monster in the Thames that is more than as it seems. I mean, this was adapted by Montana Jones creator Marco Pagott from the original novels by Arthur Conan Doyle. This was probably Pagott's first work with Studio Ghibli as well. And yeah, particularly how this was on a bill par. And yeah, there is also, this is your typical anime movie, which is basically with anthropomorphic dogs on that one. I mean, the story is great. Yeah, this is particularly based on the classic Sherlock Holmes story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle as well, especially for an anime like Sherlock Hound as well. Come to think of it, this was probably the most important anime from the 80s. This was aired on networks both in Japan and Italy as well. I mean, the music was awesome, very unique as well, particularly for an anime like Sherlock Hound, particularly. I mean, if you're an anime fan, particularly who wants to look for this one from legendary Hayao Miyazaki, especially for TV series, this was probably on the par with Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind as well. But this anime series, Sherlock Hound, as probably to the extent to Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, particularly. And come to think of it, this is probably the most important anime series that has with anthropomorphic dogs, particularly on this well. I mean, this is probably... I admire the characters, particularly for an anime like Sherlock Hound as well. I mean, come to think of it, because I really love the series because, yeah, it's particularly the Sherlock Holmes stories, but with some dogs on it, kind of like the anime Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, which is probably another anime created by Nippon Animation as well, which I haven't reviewed Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds yet, but probably for another time as well. But for the thing for an anime like Sherlock Hound is that it's probably how they adapted the stories from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and then they wanted to make a Japanese anime adaptation out of it. Instead of human characters, they have to use like anthropomorphic dog characters in that one. Kind of like how Nippon Animation did with Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, particularly, as well. But Sherlock Hound, however, this started in 1984, which is probably around the same time as Fist of the North Star and Urusei Yatsura, as how I remembered. And yeah, and this has ended on May 6, 1985, which is probably around the same time as Odin, Photon Sailor, Starlight, and as well, particularly. And yeah, this is the groundbreaking anime series from legendary Hayao Miyazaki as well. And yes, this anime series was created by TMS Entertainment, which is probably known for their works such as Space Adventure Cobra, the Rose of Versailles, and Lupin the Third series as well. And yes, this is probably one of the most important anime series, particularly, which is almost a long way from Heidi, Girl of the Alps, particularly as for this anime like Sherlock Hound as well. And yeah, this is probably how it was, but adapted from as it was to many other classic stories that have been adapted into an anime adaptations in general, like from the 70s, like Nobody's Boy Remy and Treasure Island, because both of those were created by TMS Entertainment. But in the 80s, it's basically for Sherlock Hound, however, it's probably adapted from the story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and that's probably how they want to make this anime series particularly. But instead of human characters, they want to put it like anthropomorphic dog-like characters, particularly in this anime like Sherlock Hound as well. And yeah, this is probably one of the most important anime titles. And yeah, this is probably to the extent before there was it's probably to the extent to Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds and well as this. And yeah, this is probably how it's brought over to Italy on the Italian network channel called Rai as well, because this is probably how you expect for an anime series to be broadcast. It came over from Japan and broadcasted on the Italian network channels, which is probably more popular during the 80s as well. Yeah, because that's pretty much how most other anime titles have brought over from Japan, and they aired it on Italian network channels such as the RAI channel as well. For a particular anime series like Sherlock Hound, and it's that most of the famous anime series like Sherlock Hound hasn't been aired on television as it was to the preparatory for how the testimony of how it was, particularly when it comes to 80s anime titles. If it was to the fond of our generation, if it was to our parents' generation, particularly, especially, I mean, this is how they basically encapsulated only 26 episodes, especially the ones that have been adapted from the stories of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And that's pretty much how Hayao Miyazaki and his team had a lot to do with when they're working on how they made this anime series. And yes, this was created by TMS Entertainment, which is known for the work on Lupin the Third series particularly. And yes, this was all. Speaking of that, Sherlock Hound is probably came out in 1984, probably around the same time as Fist of the North Star, Urusei Yatsura, and Lupin the Third Pink Jacket series was probably airing at the time as well. And yeah, This is probably one of the most important anime titles that have been aired in 1984. Probably of how how it's not so easy to expect for this particular anime series like Sherlock Hound as well. And yeah, this has been released on DVD by Manga Video UK as a complete series set, as well as releasing 4 volumes of Sherlock Hound on DVD, which is released by Geneon Entertainment, formerly known as Pioneer Entertainment, which is probably in the West, which is probably in the United States of America in the mid 2000s. When it was first released on DVD, particularly for an anime series like Sherlock Hound, particularly. And yeah, this is probably on the par, particularly, of how to stand the testimony for their credibility as well. I mean, the director, Hayao Miyazaki, has only worked on how he had a lot to do for when he worked on the anime like Sherlock Hound as well. And come to think of it, his works are basically more famous and inspiring as well, for the many testimony as well, has not only dreamed of what they were doing as well, come to think of it as well. Yeah, so the thing for an anime series like Sherlock Hound, however, it's basically the story, it's basically adapted from the story of Sherlock Holmes, but they add it with some dog characters, particularly anthropomorphic dog characters, particularly in this anime series as well. Yep, because that's just how it is as well. And yeah, that's probably on one of his what Hayao Miyazaki's works. I mean, Hayao Miyazaki has directed some TV series. I mean, creative work that'll basically of how he has a lot to do for this one. Because not only dreamed of what they were doing, creative work that'll stand the test of time for the Moni. He has done this on when he directed 6 episodes of Sherlock Hound. 2 are less than the satisfactory results for their own credibility as well for this particular anime series like Sherlock Hound as well. And yes, it features in a regular appearances of Jules Verne's steampunk style technology, which is with the atmosphere in the 19th century science fiction vibe feel to this anime series like Sherlock Hound as well. And yeah, it had an English dub in 1982 when it was originally broadcast on HBO in late 1983 as under the title The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And yeah, this was broadcasting on the Italian public broadcasting corporation called RAI, Radio Televisione Italiana. And yes, this was your typical anime series that has aired on Radio Televisione Italiana, which is probably during the 80s as well. I mean, if you're and there is also a Sherlock Hound film series that only has 2 of them, which both directed by legendary Hayao Miyazaki as well. I mean, if you're looking for an anime series that is adapted from Sherlock Holmes, chances you're gonna have to pick Sherlock Hound. Otherwise, there's notable titles such as Around the World with Willy Fogg, Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds, and The Mysterious Cities of Gold as well. And yeah, so that's going to be it for my anime review on Sherlock Hound for today. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. I really love this anime series. It's been a while since I've watched Sherlock Hound when I borrowed those on DVD from the library back in 2017. I really enjoyed the series. I mean, it's been a while. It's also available on Blu-ray from Discotheque Media as well. Hope to subscribe for content. My anime plan link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter and Facebook if you have Twitter and Facebook account on all social media. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video if you enjoyed this video as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RoniK95. Feel free to join the channel, especially if you're new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review coming up next for what's in store. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime that I haven't reviewed based on the story by Robert Louis Stevenson for tomorrow's anime review on Treasure Island. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Treasure Island, because you won't want to miss another anime review.